About time for another Coach Life. I was having a conversation with a colleague going up the elevator. We were talking about the lessons we perceived, I like to think that we learned during the pandemic, and how clearly it didn't land in education. Lessons such as taking our time, being patient, creating space for ourselves. Right now, we are currently stuck in fast forward with God knows whatever aim. And everyone can kind of feel it. So I don't want to get too spacious on this because I have a clear point that I want to make to you. So yesterday, I had a lot on my plate. I had about 4 meetings. I had a full day of work. I had basketball game after work, and then I had to go home and finish editing Wings. One of the things that came up in the edits is the importance of the elevator. And one of the editors felt like it might, outside of New York City, people might not understand how important the elevator is. So for example, in our school, it's a vertical building. The gym is on the 10th floor, the cafeteria is on the 9th. You enter through the 1st, the art room's on the 1st, the office. So just imagine if you have art, gym, English, lunch as a schedule. You have to start on the 1st, and you have to make it up to the 10th, and then you have to go down to the 1st, and you have to go up to the 9th, or if you have out lunch, you have to go back down, out. So if you take the stairs, a few flights is not bad. 9, 10 flights, it's rough. And up and down, it's a lot. So the elevator is key. The elevator breaks a lot. There's a front and a back elevator. Who can ride when? It changes pretty much every year. Just trying to figure out the right formula so that traffic can flow. It reminds me of my Japanese friend at Le Porpin. Actually, he ended up being a co-owner of the residency in France, but his job was, he was a civil engineer, and he designed some of the traffic lights, aka traffic patterns, in Japan. That's what he did. That was his job. And it was very interesting talking with him in front of that fireplace. He dropped some gems on me. But back to the elevator. People don't know the elevator was, or I assume some people know, but let's just get it out in the air. The elevator was just as significant an invention as the automobile, just as significant an innovation as the cell phone, just as significant an innovation as AI, fusion, the things that we have today. Now, of course, at its inception, everyone thought, why in the world would I step into a death trap just to go up a few flights? Because buildings were, 3 stories, 4 stories was a lot. But as we began to have vertical buildings, especially in cities such as New York, the elevator became the norm. The elevator then became essential. Now we can't really imagine life without it if you live in a vertical building. If you work in a vertical building, if you live in one, if you are using one. Same can be said for the cell phone. I just saw a few Instagram ads. I saw a few YouTube ads for Instagram. So the ads are on YouTube and they're for Instagram. And they're about parental controls and how you can have your child can have a healthier experience on Instagram. You like 8, 10, 20 years too late. This was a huge issue 10 years ago. Now we have measures. So what does that say about the last 10 years? We didn't know that was an issue you know? It's just a little disrespectful, the delivery. And also, they're not even on IG like that, too tough. It's other platforms now. IG to them is like Facebook to us. It's where you keep up with old folks. So the elevator, it's a perfect word for the innovation which early adopters see, use, and then after a while, it's so normal, you can't imagine life without it. So right now we have teachers struggling with the chatbot essays written by AI, which are so realistic that with the only way they can really catch it is if they run it through another AI, which says the probability of it being written by AI is over a certain threshold. So if it's like 97% probably written by AI, then they can flag it and say, hey, this is probably written by AI. That's plagiarism, yada, yada, yada. My thing is, I understand it's the Wild Wild West. It's hard to understand. It's important for us to embrace the unknown, do a cost-benefit analysis, and then actually understand that it's gonna be as pervasive as any of these other innovations anyways. Just because you didn't take the elevator, you didn't stop the elevator. Just because you don't have a cell phone, you didn't stop the cell phone. Just because you don't understand AI, you're not gonna stop AI. So what do we do then? Right? What are the benefits of this? You see a lot of creatives and wannabe creatives and educators and whatever, stiff people. They look at it as a bad thing because it's a lot of change. And the argument is, well, if I have something else doing the thinking for me, then I'm not gonna learn. Or even worse, they say if the students have someone else doing the thinking for them, they're not gonna learn. That's nonsense. They're gonna learn something else. We collectively will learn, well, what is the value of our ideas anyways? For too long, we've put so much energy into our ideas. Like, we really praise people for creating things that anyone could create given the circumstance. There's nothing really novel about a lot of these things that get elevated just because they have a money machine behind them. So I'll use an example, unpopular opinion, but whatever. Kanye West. A lot of the things that he does where people are so in awe of his innovation, to me, it's just like, he's recycling. That's good. That's good. I'm not trying to discredit his work, but at best, to me, it is recycling. If you take the best of something here and the best of something there and the best of something there and you put it together and it's impactful, well, guess what? It's supposed to be. So to me, he's more like he's more like an AI than creative, if you ask me. Now, that being said, I don't discredit what he's doing. I think it's important. Just like if you're on a long journey, you need to have signs that tell you, like, there's this town is over there. That's valuable information. Like, oh, this town, you get to the town and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I had the sign to know that this town was there. Without the sign, you just be going blind. So without Kanye remixing the soul samples and all of that, and the rap lyrics and being in the shadow footsteps of Jay and Dame and all of that, you wouldn't have a connection to that history. So it's good. He's like a signpost. But I would not doubt that an AI could easily be Kanye West or any of these other creatives. There's some creatives where it's obvious they need to be here being a creative. There's others where it's also obvious that any simple code can produce what they're producing. So now you can tap into the chatbot, make a Kanye West type beat with soul samples for a Jay-Z song with 3 verses, 2 hooks, a bridge, yada yada yada, intro, outro. Oh, I'm sorry, the chatbot can't do notes yet. It can't do musical notes, but it can perform that. So it's an elevator. Sometimes it's good to take the stairs. A lot of people will choose to take the stairs. That doesn't stop the elevator. Are we going to use it properly? Are we going to integrate it? Maybe this is the perfect key for us to transition into understanding our obsession with ideas and the mind is taken away from some essential work we need to do on the inside. Spiritually, we are bankrupt. We got all the ideas in the world, but we don't know how we want to move forward. We don't know how to grieve. We don't know how to mourn. We don't know how to celebrate. Elevators. Coach Life.